Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stallions Run. I'm, of course, your host, Buck, and let's get right into it. We have some NFL signings from the Stallions we need to talk about. We have a big signing returning to the Stallions, it looks like, and we have some possible speculation with league meetings happening in LA at the moment. So let's get right into it, talk about everything. First off, we have two signings heading to the NFL from the Stallions. The first one, Khalid Davis is heading to the Houston Texans, which is one that I was very kind of much waiting for it to happen. It was one of the names that when I kind of a couple weeks ago, before every defensive player basically got pulled to the NFL, I was like, man, it feels like the offense is getting pretty much pulled up. But what's happening with the defensive guys? Because they absolutely showed out also. And well, now we're starting to get our answer because here they go. They're finally heading to the NFL. Of course, Davis is heading towards the Houston Texans. As a Titans fan, that's a bit of a scary thought to me because, well, I don't, again, division rivals. We're having the whole Oilers throwback thing happening, and Houston is not exactly happy with Nashville right now. So, kind of an interesting point. I hope that I hope that he goes a little easy on the Titans, but every other team, feel free to go back at 100% with. A great signing for Houston. I feel like that's a signing that could be very, let's just say, great for both sides. So I'm very intrigued to see what happens with Davis in Houston, and I can't wait to see what he does. And then the other signing, one that when I tweeted out, I was like, oh god, this will leave me a pit in my stomach because this is a name that the team really relied on last year, especially Colby Wadman, punter, of course, for the Stallions. He is heading to the Washington Commanders, and that's you lose again 2/3 of your special teams. I mean, look, Brandon Aubrey. I feel like again, I talked about that was a big loss, and there was a reason he was basically like 2 days after the championship signed with Dallas, which we'll talk about that in a little bit how he's doing. But it's like okay, if we can keep some of the consistency, if maybe Colby stays, then we'll keep things nice and steady. But Colby is heading to Washington, so congratulations to him on that. But man, I feel like special teams is going to be a lot different this year, barring maybe a cut or something like that happening, where maybe some players do return to the USFL and the Birmingham to be specific. So I guess we're kind of in a waiting point and seeing what happens with camp. So I guess to point out, there was maybe some hope between Birmingham fans where, well, maybe Aubrey, it's his first NFL camp. Maybe he doesn't have the greatest performance. He can come back, get another year under his belt in the USFL. And that doesn't seem to be happening now. For Brandon Aubrey, just absolutely showing off for the Cowboys because the Cowboys had another kicker, Tristan. I'm going to butcher this name. I apologize about that, but Rocales, I believe. He was cut. They had about a week and a half kind of battle for that kicking position, but he was released from the Cowboys camp. Brandon Aubrey is currently the only kicker in Dallas for the Cowboys. So everyone's now kind of wondering, are they sticking with Aubrey? Are they going to sign a veteran? Right now, it's been about 3 days, and there's been no movement, kind of seemingly, for the Cowboys going for a free agent kicker. So I think the question is now, will they kind of wait till a little closer? Are they going to just see what happens during the first preseason game for the Cowboys? Or, is Brandon Aubrey going to be the number one kicker in Dallas? That's the question I think everyone's asking right now. And one, I think absolutely Brandon Aubrey can be the number one kicker in Dallas if he needs to be. I don't think that's a question, to kind of go, oh, this is, what's going to happen. But I think if Jerry Jones is saying, hey, we're going to have Brandon Aubrey as the kicker, I think Brandon Aubrey can absolutely step up if he needs to. And then we also got to talk about one other stallion in the NFL. Austin Watkins has been becoming quickly a camp favorite for Browns fans. He had an excellent game for the Hall of Fame game. Again, kind of one of those full circle moments. Had the championship in Canton, of course. what do you know, Hall of Fame game. He has the game-winning touchdown for the Browns to sneak away from the Jets during that first preseason game of the entire, NFL preseason season. Don't you just love how many times we have to say season when it comes to preseason? But again, our Stallions are showing off, just kind of showing what's going on. And again, just like, another cut. I just thought about this. Alex Magoo has survived kind of the first QB cut in Green Bay. So we are showing to the NFL, the USFL is clearly putting out players that are going out there, and they clearly have at least are doing something right because they are surviving cuts pretty much daily. So the USFL just showing for players who maybe you know you don't have a great camp, you want to go get some more game experience, head to the USFL. You never know. All right, now let's talk about a possible and looks like very likely re-signing happened for Birmingham. Jamar Smith, of course, 2022. I said in my tweet, the best quarterback in the USFL. I know there's some who will say otherwise, but to me, it's Jamar Smith in 2022. Of course, was injured in literally about first half of that first 2023 Week 1 game against New Jersey. Well, it looks like he is back in Birmingham. He put out a tweet kind of late last night saying "Giddy up 6" with the 6 emoji. So that made people wonder: is he indicating that he is wanting to resign? He then put out another tweet underneath that, saying the mission with a picture of Michael Jordan with the 3 kind of hand symbol. So it looks like Jamar Smith, if it has not been announced already, but I'm taking this as very likely that Jamar Smith has re-signed with the Birmingham Stallions. He will be back for 2024. I am excited. I'm still sad we did not get to see kind of a Jamar Smith that took the lessons of 2022 and applied them to 2023. But if we can see a Jamar Smith that's back healthier and is absolutely just ready to go, I you know especially with how fans were kind of like saying if Jamar Smith needs to return in 2023 by any chance he gets to, do you exactly pull Alex Magoo? And a lot of the fans were saying no, not really, because Alex Magoo was just doing so well at the time. And I think that's absolutely something. If you see that as the quarterback who started Week 1, again, the whole kind of full circle was 2022, 2023 when it came to the QB position. But again, I think we're going to see a scarier Jamar Smith. I am excited for that as a Stallions fan. Cannot wait to see what happens on that front. And then finally, a little bit of speculation time, but we did get news yesterday from Brett Zaleski that the league meetings are happening currently in LA. And it looks like he can't. If you read the tweet, I think it's a bit of a clue. It just starts off with in LA this week for at USFL league meetings, and then he says, "Wow, I'm so pumped to engage our fans about where we're going. I had to stop to enjoy the view." That indicates to me that we're seeing at least some new hubs. If not, all 8 teams are going to be playing at home. But I think we're going to probably be seeing some expansion coming up, which I'm excited for Birmingham. I think a lot of fans specifically have been wanting to kind of be able to go to New Orleans for Breakers games. I know that's something I've thought about because, of course, everyone knows I'm in Tuscaloosa at the moment. Of course, Alabama student, but of course, the Southern Crescent runs right through Tuscaloosa down to New Orleans. So, be very nice to be able to just hop on the train, take it, enjoy maybe a weekend in New Orleans, and then get to go see the Stallions beat the Breakers, of course, wherever they're going to play, because that's been up to the debate where the Breakers should go play. But I think we're going to be seeing news very soon about where teams could possibly be playing. Last year it was November. Then we had about a month period of silence, and then January the rest of the hubs were announced. I'm going to say if we're seeing maybe some teases from Brett. I'm going to say we're probably going to get the news by October. This is my guess, so take it as a grain of salt if you want to. But I think we're probably going to get news sooner this year than last year because the league is clearly trying to get things done, I think, a little bit faster, it seems, compared to last offseason. So, but again, we are seeing change in the air, basically. this is the off season. We're gonna have. I think it's a lot of fun, especially with the signings. We're seeing people make it through camp, make it through those pretty much those scary cuts, and I am excited overall to see what happens. And I cannot wait for the preseason in the NFL to fully hit. So we're right there, kind of watching our Stallions succeed in the NFL. I'm your been host Buck. I'll see you around next time. Until then, enjoy and watch your Stallions in the NFL preseason. Enjoy that action.